Didn't go so well up in the Pacific Northwest for the black and gold on Sunday evening. 44-13 was the final. And before I get into these talking points, like, big picture, it's not very significant. Like, the fact that the Saints got smoked by the Seahawks on the road, it doesn't really change my outlook for the future of the organization. It was ugly. You don't see games like that in the NFL very often. But I think everyone in August was aware that there may be a Sunday here or there for the Saints that looks like that. You were picked at the bottom of the league by everybody. ESPN, The Athletic, Yahoo, Vegas, whoever, Saints, 28th, 29th, 30th. You were one of the worst teams in the league by everyone in August. So to get smoked on the road is not shocking. Watching it unfold that way by giving up a punt return touchdown and then having a punt blocked and just getting annihilated, like, it was jarring in the moment. But when you take a step back and realize, okay, this is what you're working with, like, I don't think differently about the 2026, 2027 Saints based on what I saw on Sunday for 4 quarters. They just got their butt kicked because they're not very good. So with that understanding, there were a couple of things that irked me more so than what I saw in weeks 1 and 2 where you didn't win games. And my hope is that it's not something that shows back up in the future, that it was more of like a one-time thing. But I can't just let it go because it irked me in a major way. To trail by 30 points in the first half and have a 4th and 2 and instead line up for a longer than 50-yard field goal while you're down 30 is ridiculous. Ridiculous. And even worse, to get down inside the 10-yard line when you are trailing 38-3 in an NFL football game, and to attempt a field goal is ridiculous. Now, Kellen Moore was asked why he kicked that field goal, and I will let him give his thoughts before I go further with mine. But again, I thought it was ridiculous. Here's Kellen Moore on the decision, down by 35 points at nearly halftime of an NFL game, to kick a chip shot field goal instead of trying to throw the ball in the end zone.
I feel like we just need to earn some points out of that drive, and we got some points, and we'll see if we can stop them and get ourselves at least in a position where you got to play the game perfect to have a chance. But we just need to get something going.
Huh? You think that by going into the locker room down 38-6, you've now given yourself a significantly better chance to win the football game? Huh? This is what, when I heard that quote yesterday, this is the thought I had. Everyone leans from their experiences, right? And to me, this is what it sounded like to me. It sounded like when my 3-year-old has a soccer game and we let the parents go out there and hold the players' hands so they're not scared to be on the field so that everybody feels better. It sounded to me like, well, we just need to get some points there just because it make you feel better. It might make the players feel better. What? It's 38-3, Kellen. You need to score a touchdown, and you're inside the 10-yard line. This is not a situation where you're on the 37 and you're probably not going to score a Hail Mary. You're inside the 10. That field goal was a loser move. It was a loser move to kick a chip shot field goal before the halftime. I don't have another way to say it. I do not believe that decision is a harbinger for a disastrous tenure with Kellen Moore as the head coach of the Saints. I do not. I think the decision to kick that field goal before the half was utterly ridiculous. You have to try to score a touchdown when you're down 38-3. We have a small sample size with Kellen Moore, as the head coach. And the wins and losses to me are not that significant. But I got to tell you, in week 1, to not call those timeouts before the half was troubling. And his answer after that was troubling. And in week 3, to go for that field goal and to do it twice when you're getting the doors blown off is troubling. I think it's more important that Kellen Moore knows how to dial up an offense and develop a quarterback and make sure he hires good coaches. That part is far more important than these little things that I'm talking about in games that are ultimately going to be meaningless because the Saints stink this year and their wins and losses don't matter. So this is not something that I think is going to destroy the organization from within. It's just troubling. Like these decisions are bad. It was a bad decision in the first game to not call those timeouts. It was a bad decision to line up for either of those field goals. You're getting smoked. You got to go score touchdowns. And nobody in that locker room, nobody is going to feel any better because you cut the lead from 38-3 to 38-6 right before the half. It's embarrassing. It's an embarrassment. There are bigger issues with this organization than these things that I'm pointing out right now. But I don't have 3 years of sample size with Kellen Moore to lean on. I'm learning about him every single Sunday. And some of these decisions in his first time as a head coach are absolutely troubling. But we'll see. The whole thing with this season is be better in December than you were in September. And they're setting a pretty low bar in September right now. So with development, and if that comes, I would love to sit here and laud it and talk positively about it. I would love to do that. But right now, I'm not going to get on here on Monday after a professional football team gets annihilated like that and try to start nitpicking positives from Sunday. There aren't any. Quincy Riley got out there, forced a turnover. Tyler Shuck got his feet wet, down 100 in the fourth quarter. That would be a ridiculous thing to start talking about. There really isn't any positive. And I would suggest, as I started this segment by saying, there's not anything that I'm seeing that is just a complete harbinger of doom for the Saints. They're in a bad spot right now with the roster, and everybody's just got to do the best that they can. But also, I'm willing to sit here and tell you that those decisions that Kellen Moore has made, I don't like. So you flush that one, and then you're going to get smoked on Sunday in Buffalo. You're 16.5-point dog, which is just unfathomable in the NFL. And then you got to come home and play some of your best football, the best football that you're capable of playing against the Giants and the Patriots, who are not very good. Because we talked about how important that game against a backup quarterback in San Francisco might have been because these start to pile up. These guys are pros. They're going to come in and go to work. But that negative energy is hard to get out. And you can live with having a play and a throw into the end zone in weeks 1 and 2 to win and not getting it done. That happens. You look up and it's 38-3. You give up 21 points in the first quarter, which is the first time the Seahawks have done that since 2006. Worst halftime deficit ever in the that's a bad deal. That was a bad effort on Sunday. It was a bad game. And you just got to get on past it. You just wish that next up wasn't a trip to Buffalo because that doesn't exactly warm the heart if you're trying to be optimistic. I hated Kellen Moore's answers, and I hated those decisions. Those are what irked me the most. I don't know that there's a lot else to talk about from Sunday. It was just a disaster for New Orleans. We'll see. We'll talk to Sharif and a few other guests as we move on this week with the black and gold. Hey, it's on. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.